Ladies and gentlemen, it is showtime. Please enjoy the show.
It's the corner where the treats.
Is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies?
It comes down to that front office and what they feel is most important.
The champ is here. We've touched down from a higher plane. Why you made it here?
We always look forward to that week because it was always intense.
You know that we ain't coming back. We about to.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Get to dashing because you done on the war field.
What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone's having a nice week so far. I'm Marcus Dash, and tonight's going to be a solo show for myself. JD, like I said on Monday, is dealing with some family stuff right now. His mother is in the hospital. So, guys, please send all your love to JD and his family and Mama Dunn as well. But, yeah, tonight is going to be a solo show for me, and I'm going to be diving into Brett Veach's press conference yesterday at the Combine and kind of going on the certain pieces that I saw that were very, I guess, important. And I think he does shed some light on where he wants to go this offseason. And again, it's GM speech about 2 weeks before free agency in the offseason begins. So, like, we're not going to take everything he says so literally, but we're going to kind of dive into some of the stuff tonight. But yeah, of course, Chief Concerns, as always, is presented by our sponsor, and that's DraftKings Sportsbook. DraftKings Sportsbook, the best sportsbook, the number one sportsbook. Right now, obviously, NFL season is over, but all season is here, so you can place wagers on future bets. And future bets right now, the Chiefs are the favorite of the AFC West going into the offseason. So before the draft hits, before all-season signings hit, before we sign Kenneth Walker, get in now. And now you can place a live bet on or a future bet on the Chiefs to win the AFC West next for the 2026 season. But let's see who's in the chat today before we get into the nitty-gritty of today's episode. It's going to be a good episode. I've pulled a lot of clips from the Brett Veach's press conference, and yeah, we'll dig into all that stuff. But let's see who's in the chat tonight. Oh, okay. All right. Still, people are still trickling in. So, yeah, about only 10 people in the live right now. Brian Gales, 41. Bain is the next coming of Warren Sapp. I'm running the cars up there. I'm running the car up there if he's still available at 9. Yeah, I mean, Sapp obviously was a defensive tackle. Bain's playing inside and outside. Sapp is also bigger, but 100%. He's going to be. I do think he's going to be one of the generational guys in this draft. So yeah, I do agree with you, Brian. I am in on Rueben Bain, baby. Give it to me, baby. Verstappen fan 3301. Nice haircut, Marcus. Appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate you, man. I just got that done today, actually. Daniel 13 ZDR. What's good, Marcus? What's up, buddy? Linda Hunter, about time. Okay, we'll let people trickle in here for a little bit before we begin with tonight's episode. I don't want to miss any of the big nuggets we have in this show tonight. But yeah, like, I thought Veach had some very interesting stuff, and I thought that there's I thought there's parts of it where, like, for example, the Jawaan Taylor stuff, which we'll get into tonight. I thought, like, foregone conclusion. Of course, he's not going to say we're going to cut the guy, but the fact that he was like, no, there's other ways we can, create cap space. We did it a couple weeks ago with Mahomes, and then now we fast forward to this week. We can do a Trey Smith's contract. You can do it with Chris Jones' contract, but that's kind of where it's murky, where it's like, do we want to do it with a guy who's older like that and extend him? Obviously, you could extend Trent McDuffie and lower his cap hit this year and make it kind of spread it out over the next few years. Nick Bolton as well. There's plenty of guys they can do. Karlaftis is the one that I've actually read a lot that people say that he might be the one that they do end up extending. Now, if you're a Karlaftis fan, maybe you don't want to do that. But if you're not a Karlaftis fan, then I don't know. But there are a lot of ways they can go about doing that without having to cut players. I know Jawaan would give about $20-something million, so that is a guy there. But if they don't, it doesn't sound like he wants to do that. And I honestly thought that that would probably be a thing they would have done right away before the Mahomes restructure. So I'm surprised they haven't done that. But his comments kind of really talk about that. We'll get into that tonight. Let's see who else is in here. Daniel 13. What I learned from Veach's press conference is that Veach is willing to move mountains for Bain. It does sound like that, and that is one of the things we're going to go over tonight. So I'm glad you pointed that out. I'm glad you noticed that too, Daniel. We're going to go over that tonight. That's actually how we're going to end the show tonight. Janae Rains, hello, and it's my birthday, Chiefs Kingdom. Happy birthday, Janae. I hope you are doing well. I hope it's another nice year for you, Janae. And yeah, and appreciate the comment. Nice haircut. Yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed, I'm wearing baseball caps the last few weeks. My hair was out of control. I had to do it. Luckily, the weather here started getting to 50, 60 degrees kind of weather. We're getting closer to springtime. So, yeah, it was time to maybe go back to my normal spring and summer haircut. But I appreciate that, Janae, and happy birthday again. Hope you're celebrating your birthday well. And it's obviously you're celebrating nicely with you're on the Chief Concerns live chat tonight. So, Chief Nut, what's going on, buddy? Hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're taking care of the horses over there. All right. So yeah, let's without further ado, let's begin. I will open up at the end of the show after we're done with the topics. I will open up the phone lines for you guys to come in to spout what you want to spout off about, ask any questions you want to ask, and we'll dig into it. But yeah, that is where we're going tonight. So let's go to the combine. Let's go to Indianapolis right now, and let's see what Brett Veach is cooking up. So obviously, the big thing this offseason is Trent McDuffie. What's the future of Trent McDuffie? And that's kind of where Brett Veach immediately starts off his press conference yesterday. He said something about Trent McDuffie, but there was questions asked about Jawaan Taylor and how you're going to create more cap space. What's the future of Drew Tranquil and all that. So I'm going to let Brett Veach talk about that in this soundbite so you guys can hear if you end up missing it yesterday. So here is Brett Veach yesterday.
With guys like Jawaan and Drew Tranquil, someone asked me about earlier, these guys started for us and they play a lot of football for us. And again, our cap situation, I don't know if we're 6 or 7 over, but I think we have $60 million in convertible contracts too. So, we have many different ways to attack this. And I think that's the one thing that we've been good at. We don't do a lot of money pushed out in the future years. And I think we run a pretty tight ship there. So this gives us flexibility to do different things. So again, that's part of the process with all those guys, and we'll see how the scenarios shake out. Yeah, we've had a lot of dialogue with Trent last spring, last summer, and he's first out of the gate, I think, tomorrow. So looking forward to get with him, and obviously Trent's a great player, and see what we can do there. But certainly love to have Trent back and for the long term.
So, like I said, the opener, never fully take the word of a general manager right before free agency begins. It's the time of the year when everything that's said publicly is just about leverage and negotiations. That's the truth. Really, it all comes down to leverage and the negotiations. But if you listen closely to how Brett Veach kind of talked about a few specific players, i.e. McDuffie, Jawaan Taylor, and also Drew Tranquil was also part of this clip as well, you can see the direction the Chiefs might be leaning. And now we've been talking about speculation that the Chiefs might trade McDuffie. They might cut Jawaan Taylor. But when Veach was asked about Jawaan Taylor, who many believe will be one of the cap casualties, Taylor, third highest cap hit on the team, I believe, behind Jones and Mahomes. Cutting him would save around $20 million, but it would kind of create a hole at right tackle. We're excited about Issa Polle, Chu Godric, Jalen Moore, who he signed last year. So, there is that kind of sense that we do have the other right tackle in the building. But now, Veach did come out and guarantee Taylor's safe, but if you notice his language, these guys started for us. I believe that these guys started for us. They play a lot of football for us. And generally, that's not how a GM really talks before they prepare to cut the guy. If they were going to trade him, sure, I would say, yeah, that there you go. They might, he's just trying to play up his how great Jawaan Taylor is before, trying to trade him. That's not the case. Unless that is the case, he's pull a rabbit out of his hat. But he also emphasized the Chiefs have many different ways to attack this, and roughly $6 million in convertible contracts to create cap flexibility. In other words, they'd rather move around money than starting players like Jawaan Taylor. And that approach tracks with how the Chiefs usually operate. They avoid years. They limit dead money, and they keep their cash spending tight, and they can restructure deals or shift bonuses to open space. That's usually their playbook. That's what Veach has always done. So while a lot of people have said that Jawaan Taylor is a potential cut candidate, Veach's comments suggest that Chiefs may prefer to keep the line intact, and make their cap space elsewhere. And like we said, there's a lot of other guys to do that with. Karl Lavis's contract, Plenty of those dudes. Now let's go to the Trent McDuffie side. When he says elsewhere, Trent McDuffie's a big part of that. Veach reveals that the extension talks with McDuffie have already begun. They're going to be continuing it all week long at the combine. That's usually what combine's made for. It's for the agents, the teams, the GMs to all get together and do this and to talk about what they want to accomplish as far as the money side of things. So sounds like the front office is gearing up to make McDuffie one of their cornerstone players long term, which kind of goes against a lot of people suggested. A lot of experts said that Trent McDuffie is probably going to be traded. They don't have the money to trade to sign him, but it sounds like that is what he wants to do. And they said last year that's what they want to do. That's why when they ended up extending Karlaftis, everyone thought was like, okay, so that means McDuffie's coming, or that means they chose Karlaftis over McDuffie. Well, not necessarily. It sounds like they want to do both. But if a deal gets done soon, it could actually help the cap situation this year. It would lower McDuffie's 2026 number while giving him a raise overall. So long-term wise, it might be better for the Chiefs to do that if they can't get a good haul for him, which a lot of people said we could get a first and third or a second and fourth or something like that. But if they can't do it, they can't do it. But when you put it all together between the tone on Jawaan Taylor, the focus on flexibility, and the active push to extend McDuffie, the picture looks less like cap purge and more like strategic reshuffling, which is the word that he did utilize in his whole presser. He talked about a rebuild. There's a rebuild year for him. But if Veach's comments are any indication, the Chiefs might end up keeping Jawaan Taylor and rewarding McDuffie, not replacing one or losing both. So really, I did think his presser was very insightful in the way that he talked about McDuffie and the way they talked about having $60 million to kind of pull for instead of having to try to. And thanks to Mahomes, right? Because I think that's the big thing, right? Mahomes doesn't do what he did last week, then we're talking about, oh, man, we're going to have to cut a lot of dudes. That's just Jawaan Taylor. But Mahomes' contract is set up the way it is, and they set their contracts a lot like this because you talk about the $60 million they could pull from with the current contracts there. There's a lot of that. So there's a lot of convertible contracts they have, and that's kind of the way they played it out strategically so they aren't losing guys like this, like Trent McDuffie. So, I mean, it's interesting, but again, like I said, you can only trust a GM during the combine. Like, you can only take a little bit of that. Take it as a grain of salt, but it does the wording of some of these things. And I know our friend Lance has spoken and talked about what they said about L'Jarius Sneed a couple years ago, how they didn't know what they're going to do between L'Jarius Sneed and Chris Jones, and it made it seem like it was a hard-fought thing, which to many people thought it was going to be a tough one to be able to choose between either Chris Jones or L'Jarius Sneed. And I think Lance is pretty much saying that Veach will say whatever, doesn't actually mean that they want to keep the guy. But in the end, I mean, like, they decided to move on from Sneed, and there were some knee issues there. There's some lower leg stuff. So, like, and we've seen in Tennessee, he's got off-the-field issues, and he's got the same the knee issues kind of continuing on with him. So, like, he hasn't even played that much in Tennessee. And I think I read today that the GM spoke, and they kind of like was very, very mum on the whole idea of L'Jarius Sneed. So there's potential he may be cut, and I could see him actually coming back to Kansas City on like a 1-year prove-it deal kind of deal. But we'll see about that. That is all this is speculation. But so you can only take what Brett Veach says. And I remember last year around this time, we all thought that Trey Smith was done. Like in Kansas City, he was going to be gone because it was too much to pay a guard. And, well, they ended up paying him. So, like, all that stuff, really, we don't know. We don't know. Because all losses we talked about, Trent's probably gone. We're going to get some package for him because they can't pay him. They did with Trey Smith last year, and a lot of us didn't see that coming. So, yeah. Let's see what the comments here. Combine is where the billionaires get together to screw the employees. Business as usual. Justin, that's it's very symbolic to what's going on in the world, buddy. But yes, you are right about that. Justin Blackwell missed the last show. Just get your hair did, Marcus. I did. I did that today, actually. So last show I was wearing a baseball cap. You couldn't see it. But yeah. Sneed was the best move behind the Tyreek trade. Well, the Sneed move was great in the fact that, like, we utilized the heck out of him. He played great. He was pretty much done. He wasn't even practicing, remember? So, like, we were able to trade him for a third-round pick, I believe it was. it was a guy we knew the medical. We knew there was red flags there with his medical, and like they traded him, and like he barely played in Tennessee, and now he's got off the field stuff on top of barely playing. So like, yeah, we definitely got the best out of that. So, Michael Brennan, I will say Veach out of all the GMs seems to be pretty upfront in his press conferences. Yes, I will say a lot of the GMs that I saw yesterday were very vanilla, I would say. Veach seemingly is giving us a lot, and that's why I try. I mean, 15 to 17 minute. I think it was a 17-minute press conference. I try to pull the best parts, the parts that kind of maybe spoke to me a little bit more than some of the other sound bites. And I thought to pair the Trent McDuffie conversation to the Jawaan Taylor conversation, I thought those two kind of meshed together, and that's why I made the combination of bringing Jawaan back as well as bringing Trent McDuffie back, which is just two things that I didn't see coming this offseason. And the fact that I hear Brett Veach talk about it, and now that I think it's pretty plausible, I think it's pretty interesting, to say the least. Hasn't Taylor been injured? Yeah, but his injuries aren't they're not nothing too serious. Nothing too serious we gotta worry about. Pono, please, Marcus, no more recycled tires, please. No notice needs return. That's fine. I'm just saying we're talking about a team that does do this a lot. We're talking about the Chiefs who bring back guys all the time. So if Snead does get cut, I wouldn't be surprised if we were the team to bring him in for a 1-year prove-it deal. I wouldn't be surprised about that. Now, does that mean I'm going to hitch our secondary on L'Jarius Sneed? No, I'm not at all. Not at all. Because I think we have guys in Fulton, Knowles, we had on last week. Yeah, I think I like the room we have, but if we were to add L'Jarius Sneed to this room on a 1-year nothing deal, yeah, sign me up. Because he's got off-the-field issues as well as the injury problems. Teams aren't going to be lined up at the door to go get him. Sneed obviously knows what he's done in the SPAC system before, so it'd be one of those things to bring him on if that's the case, to make him, I guess, to prove himself, to show he's back and he's healthy and he looks good in the system. I could definitely see that. And we're a team that likes that. I'm not saying that I'm vouching for, but would I be surprised if we did that? No, and I don't think you'd be surprised either, Pono. I would trade McDuffie for a first and a sixth. We'll see. I mean, that's the thing. It's I don't know what's out there. I don't know what's on the table for him. But to get a bona fide stud cornerback guy who can play inside and outside, a guy who's a leader, a guy that players in the team love. I mean, Kevin Knowles talked about it, how he is like that guy that everyone tries to emulate. I mean, some of those things, you can't really put a price tag on that. And I do love that. But, hey, if you were to tell me going into this offseason that Trent McDuffie and Jawaan Taylor would potentially be back on this team in 2026, I'd say you're crazy. You don't watch the Chiefs. But the fact that that's a possibility is interesting. I really got to say that. DJ Jazzy 1. Sad to hear Veach say that last season's draft free agency period was more for maintenance versus this season's for rebuilding. Chiefs are supposed to be rebuilding for 2 seasons. Yeah, I did think that was interesting for him to say that because it was pretty much wasn't maintenance. It was more, maintenance. Yeah, he was maintaining the guys. He was keeping the guys on, right? Like he was keeping the same dudes over and over again. And now in a rebuilding period. And I think we talked about the other day, he may have paid some people he probably shouldn't have just to keep that team together, to keep that dynasty squad together. Yeah, maybe Veach got wrapped up into that more so than we'd hoped for. But it sounds like everyone's kind of back on the same track and the same mindset. This year is a rebuild year this coming season. And it all begins with what happens in the Trent McDuffie situation. Because if they don't reach an extension with him and they don't trade him and we go to free agency next year, we're not going to pay him. I mean, and we're not going to get anything for him unless they do the tag and trade, which is a possibility. They can do that next year. So that's just something to keep in mind, guys. That is something to keep in mind. I couldn't care less if Veach is lying or not. Get me David Bailey or Rueben Bain and KC on draft night. That's his goal. And we're going to talk about that. Not the next topic, but the topic after that. Veach is playing chess again. He's going to draft a tackle. Whew. A D-tackle? I hope D-tackle maybe. But yeah, we'll see. And there was that report that came out yesterday, which it sounded ridiculous that we were interested in the Green Bay Packers tackle. Give me a break. That guy's going to break the bank this offseason. So, there's no shot we're bringing that guy in. So, we'll see about that. But, yeah, so that's what Veach had to say about the Trent McDuffie and the Jawaan Taylor stuff. And I do think it's interesting. I do think that's probably going to be something that we're going to be looking at before this. If it doesn't get done before the free agency starts, Jawaan Taylor getting cut, then he'll tell you that like he's gonna be here, guys. He's gonna be here. And I know a lot of people are on Monday's show. I think some people were saying like, "Oh man, for Jawaan Taylor's there, man. Like, I'm getting off Twitter. I'm gonna get off all social media." But I do think it's plausible. But we'll see in 2 weeks' time if Jawaan Taylor is on our team when free agency starts. Jawaan Taylor will probably be on our team when the season starts. So and at that point, it will be his last year. So Jawaan Taylor probably will be on past that. But man, what does Jawaan Taylor have over our front office? The fact that he was able to stay on if he does make the cut in 2 weeks. So just food for thought there, guys. All right, so let's get to another topic here. This was an interesting one. Yeah, let's get into it. All right, so our next topic. Okay, so our next topic. So Brett Veach was talking about, everyone, the big conversation, Jeremiah Love, the running back situation. What are we going to do? So, like I said, never take the word of a general manager right before the free agency begins. Every comment is poor truth, poor strategy, and often designed to just throw teams off the scent. But if you really listen to Brett Veach's words at the Combine, he gave a few big clues about how the Chiefs plan to address running back. And it's starting to sound like the move will come in free agency and not the draft. I'm sorry to all of my Jeremiah Love fans out there. It doesn't sound like the draft's going to be the one where we find or we get the running back. It sounds like free agency is going to be the key. And I'll let Brett Veach kind of explain that to you, and I'll talk to you on the other side about why I think so. So here we go.
Some of the best players in this draft are maybe at non-premium positions. When you look at the Ohio State linebacker, the Notre Dame running back, the safety at Ohio State. So those are really, really good players. It's hard to find faults with their tape. Really solid. But again, some of those more premium positions, interior D-line, edge rushers, they're hard to find. And with those guys, the problem with those guys is they're hard to find, and then they don't really become available in free agency. Some of those other positions, they're good players. You'll probably eventually get a chance to get some of those positions in free agency. So certainly we want to get more explosive in the running game. And, we've invested in that interior and with Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey, two of the best in the league. And we thought Kingsley made a big step. Those are three talented interior players. So I think, and we've talked about it, and Coach has done an amazing job with his staff cranking on that scheme eval, but I think being more explosive in the running game and really taking advantage of those interior three to kind of impose your will on an opposing team's defense. But the running game takes a lot of pressure off everybody. So I think if we can be more explosive and more effective in the running game, I think obviously we take a lot of pressure off Pat, especially coming back early in the season with the injury.
So premium positions like DTs and edge rushers don't hit free agency. That's the quote I want you to focus on. Premium positions like defensive tackles and edge rushers don't hit free agency. We're talking about good, like obviously guys hit free agency with defensive tackles and edge rushers, but the legit ones, they don't. That's the key. But Veach essentially said that positions that do hit free agency, like safeties and like running backs, and hey guys, I'm a Caleb Downs fan, so the fact that I'm even saying this right now, it's sad. But good free agents like safeties and running backs come out. Like they hit the market. And we're about to see two of these guys right here. Travis Etienne and Kenneth Walker are both potentially guys who are going to be in the free agency market this year, where you can still find the proven talent like those two guys. So meanwhile, premium positions like quarterback, tackles, pass rushers, interior defensive line guys, those elite dudes just never hit the open market. They never do. This year, Kansas City is going to do something it almost never does. That's going to pick in the top 10. And that's a golden ticket to grab one of those premium guys Veach is talking about, and that's not a running back. When you combine that with his comments about wanting to get more explosive in the run game and taking pressure off of Pat, especially early in the season with the injury, you can read between the lines because I don't think Brett Veach is going to go into a season feeding some rookie running back while Pat comes back from this injury. I just don't think so. I think that even that sentence alone tells me we're definitely going to go with a veteran running back. Because you look at it. You combine that with his comments about wanting to get more explosive in the run game and taking pressure off Pat, especially early in the season with an injury, that tells you that's going to be a veteran. And I know Jeremiah Love, people love him. And I read today that teams in the top 5 are probably going to go for Jeremiah Love. So that tells you guys. But even with that, you can see they're going to go with a veteran guy. And this is a great free agency class to do that. So it sounds less like we're drafting a running back in the first 2 rounds and more like we were adding a proven guy who can help out right away, and I think that is what's going to happen. And there we go. There's our guy, JD. If they do hit free agency, then it's an inflated cost. What's up, Chief Concerns family? What's up, Marcus? We hope you're doing well, buddy. Sending love to the Dunn family and sending love to JD. There's a guy in the chat right there. But yeah, I mean, right on. I mean, if these guys do hit free agency, they're going to be in a different world, in a different realm, and that's a tier we can't really cross into as far as some of these DNs, D tackles. We won't be able to match that price. But the higher end running backs, we can play ball with that. We can do that. So yeah, that's what Brett Veach is saying here. Yeah, the premium positions like guys like that, if they do hit free agency, we're not going to be able to spend up with some of these other teams. They're going to be able to spend up. So, and let's kind of go with the argument breakdown with this. So let's look at Veach's history at running back. So he's a fearful investor at the position ever since missing on CEH, our guy Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the first round. He's been extremely cautious since missing on CEH, leaning on late round guys and bargains like Damian Williams, Jerick McKinnon, and Isaiah Pacheco, guys who came at a veteran minimum deals or 7th round picks. Brashard Smith being another one. That's kind of what he's been. Like he's outside the CEH thing. It's been guys like Darrell Williams, Jerick McKinnon, Damian Williams. It's been guys like that who've come in at bargain prices or bargain round pick type guys. I mean, that's what he's done. And I do think that also adds to the fact that I don't think he's going to take a big swing, especially number 10, to draft Jeremiah Love. And that goes to my next argument, which is the top 10 pick logic. Once in a decade chance to land a difference maker at a premium spot, edge, tackle, or defensive line. That's where the long-term investment makes sense, not running back. And you're at the top 10, and this team doesn't go top 10 ever. There's a fluke season. I think we all agree. So they're definitely not going to spend it on a running back, which when you look at the free agency class, it's pretty dang good. And the free agent depth, the free agent market actually has quality options. If Veach truly believes, as he said, that good running backs hit free agency, then the path is clear, guys. Spend modestly on a proven veteran who can stabilize the run game while Mahomes eases back in, especially at the beginning of the season, as Brett Veach said. So that is what we're saying. DJ Jazzy 1, I agree with you, Marcus. Veach is looking for a vet RB. I mean, he said it. I mean, he pretty much said it all in these sound bites today. I think Veach has been listening to Chief Concerns. I think so. I think they know what's up with JD. They JD's giving out free advice on the show, and they know what's going on. JD, the girls want you to say hi to them. Kinley, Loney, Skylar, and of course Susan. Hey, what's up, guys? Everyone's doing well. We love you guys. Everyone, give a shout out to everybody in the Dunn fam. Kinley, Loney, Lonnie, Skylar, and of course Susan. We love you guys, and yeah. So everybody in the chat, make sure you give some love. Send love their way. So even though Veach won't come right out and say it, this is all point towards Kansas City addressing the running game outside the draft. He wants explosion and reliability right now. And Mahomes being hurt really emphasized the right now aspect of it. Not another developmental piece. With Mahomes coming off the ACL, LCL tear, and the Chiefs holding a rare top 10 pick, the most logical approach is this. Use draft capital at a premium position, like we've been saying for months. That won't be there in free agency, and use free agency to add a running back who will be the guy right out the gate. So that is what I took from Brett Veach talking about the running back room and the premium position aspect. Because he did say stuff like, it is BPA. He's a BPA guy, as we heard what he said, right? I know JD's not the biggest BPA fan. He's more BPA based on what you need. But Brett Veach said if the premium positions are not there, the BPA is what they look at. So that's what they go to at the end of the day. However, I do think in this case, he says running backs and safeties will be there in free agency if they tend to go that way. So look, I think we're all in the same boat. I think we all want Bain or Bailey to be there. And, so we'll see what happens. And I do think it was a good thing that the Chiefs have already met with Bain and Bailey, so I think that's huge for them. It shows you they do want that. So let's see. Everybody in the front office is traumatized to take a running back in the first round now. Oh, yeah. 100%, especially when you're with top 10. Now, people say Jeremiah Love's a can't-miss prospect, but come on, guys. We've all seen those guys who were can't-miss prospects. Darren McFadden was a can't-miss prospect. I mean, his career was I mean, it wasn't what everyone thought it was going to be. Everyone was talking about Reggie Bush. I love Reggie Bush. Great receiving back. Lasted a long time in the league. But Reggie Bush wasn't what they thought he was going to be. Everyone said he was a can't-miss prospect, a generational talent, which he was fun as heck to watch in college. And he was, he was a good receiving back. I do think if Reggie Bush came out now, I do think Reggie Bush would be a phenomenal running back in modern-day football 15, 20 years later. But nonetheless, I do think Reggie Bush would be classified generational talent now, as well as Darren McFadden. I think both those guys now would be that. But at the time, everyone was saying both those guys were going to be, oh, man, Hall of Famers. They're not Hall of Famers. They're not. Great college running backs, though. I'll tell you that much. If you don't know Darren McFadden and Reggie Bush is, go to YouTube. Well, stay on this channel, but go to YouTube afterwards and watch those guys because they were something else. Digger 4287, Michael Brennan. That's the thing. If we draft running back at 9, we will pay them the same amount as money if we sign one of those established running backs in their mid-20s, which, yes, the guys I picked out here, Travis Etienne and Kenneth Walker, obviously I would be okay with Breece Hall. I think Breece Hall would be my number one guy, but based on what the Jets GM, the clueless Jets GM who has no idea what's going on, he says they will plan on tagging. They can't reach an extension. They're going to hold Breece Hall hostage, and they're going to give him a tag, be it the transition tag or the franchise tag. I believe the transition tag is the Jets have a right to match the offer. I believe that's what the transition tag is. And obviously franchise tag is theirs. So, yeah, so that's kind of where it is with Breece Hall. It's unfortunate. But hey, I'm fine if they go the other route. But there's always a chance they don't get they don't tag Breece. But it sounds like the Jets are going to do that, which is just what a clueless organization. Let the guy go, man. Start fresh. Start a whole new thing over there. But Kenneth Walker, their GM also said today that they want to keep Kenneth Walker around, but the reports are indicating that he is going to hit the open market, which you got to love that. So, and there's obviously there's Etienne who. Apparently, over the weekend, Pete Sweeney said that the Chiefs or Travis Etienne would be interested in joining the Chiefs. It wasn't the Chiefs were interested in bringing him on. It was the Travis Etienne would be interested in joining the Chiefs. Again, that's a guy who's going to be there. That's a guy who's, Doug Peterson was his OC for a little bit, or was his head coach, but ran the Doug Peterson offense for a little bit in Jacksonville. So, there's potential there. I mean, hey, why not? So, yeah, I would prefer my tiers would be Breece, Kenneth Walker, and then Travis Etienne at number 3. But I would say those 3 guys were the tier 1 of this free agency class. Then you got tier 2, you got Rico Dowdle, Tyler Algier. Javonte Williams got extended, but yeah, I probably would have those guys all ahead of Javonte Williams. That's what I would have done. All right, let's see who else is in here. Everything from they are traumatized for sure. Okay, everyone's giving love to JD and the fam. Heck yeah. Del Monte, don't forget everybody hyped up over the feature running backs. They are. Everyone is hyped up over the feature running backs, yeah. Always. I mean, every year the running back who's supposed to be the top guy is always everyone's loving. Like Genty, everyone thought he was going to be awesome. I mean, the Raiders were a disaster last year, but everyone thought he was going to be generationally. And he looked okay. Hampton, people were hyping him up. Looked okay. I mean, yeah, it's just that you can't, especially with our situation right now, with Mahomes being hurt and having to rely on a running back right out the gate. They're not going to rely on a running back right out the gate. The running backs early on do not look good. And you could say, oh yeah, well, that's a part of the transition. You have to kind of get used to the game. But we don't have time to be take a project to the top 10, guys. We're back in this top 10, hopefully for the last time for a long time. Hopefully this is the first and last time in the Mahomes era that we were a top 10 pick. And you don't use it to go get a running back. That's why guys like Kenneth Walker are available. You go sign a guy like that. A dude who's proven. A dude who just won the MVP in the Super Bowl. So, yeah, I'm all about that. Is JD okay? I've been out of touch a while. Yeah, so JD is out this week. Monday he was out, and today he was out. His mother is in the hospital. So send love and prayers to the Dunn family. We're all thinking about him. And Mama Dunn is in our thoughts. And hopefully she's back on the mend soon. So, yeah, that's why JD is out tonight, and that's why it's a solo show with myself tonight. So, appreciate you guys being engaging in the comments and talking ball with me. And, of course, JD's in the comments. If you have any questions to ask JD, you can ask him as well. For tier 2, I would take with Dowdle. I would take Dowdle too, tier 2. Dowdle, I like more than some of the other guys. I like Algier too. Shoot, if you could give me a Dowdle, Jadarian Price kind of combination, I'd love that. It's a nice 1-2 punch. Yeah, but shoot, man, I would definitely love Kenneth Walker. If Breece Hall does not reach free agency, Kenneth Walker's a dude I want. That's the dude I want. I do feel like folks are sleeping on this running back free agency class. Yeah, it's because everyone wants the new toy. People are tired of the same old. But yeah, this is easily the best running back class in a long time, like free agency wise. I remember last year with J.K. Dobbins. Gosh, J.K. Dobbins, Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb. I mean, come on, these are like what we're doing here, like those type of guys. And we're talking about this year. We're talking about the Super Bowl MVP is going to be reaching free agency. Yeah, I think. I'm going with these guys. So yeah, if they end up signing Etienne or Walker, I think we're in business. But I think Veach pretty much highlighting for the fact that like he wants a premium guy, that number 9 spot, or maybe earlier. That tells you what's going to happen. All right, so let's go to the next soundbite here, which I thought was interesting. So this is going to tie it to all my Rueben Bain peeps out here. You're going to love this one. Yeah. So if you are a Rueben Bain person, you're going to love what we got in store for you right here. Well, let me cue this up for you guys. So as I mentioned, Brett Veach is making a high emphasis on premium positions. He talked about that in his opening presser yesterday at the Combine. But like I said, everything I'm telling you tonight, consider it. Don't take it as truth. Don't take it as fact. It's just me speculating on what Brett Veach is talking about and trying to read between the lines. That's literally it. That's it. And again, the thing you got to remember what I'm saying is I'm not telling you lies here. I'm just going by what he's saying and just trying to go with it. But it's smokescreen season. They don't call this time of the year lie season, smokescreen season for nothing. When what he said publicly is usually meant to disguise what's happening privately. He's not going to tell you every conversation that's going on. He's not going to tell you who's a number 1 on his board. Because even the top where he talks about premium positions and wanting that, he also says the best players in this draft are the non-premium positions. So it's like, oh, but you said you also said you're going to go BPA. So obviously you like Caleb Downs and you like Jeremiah Love. Okay, but you also talk about premium positions. So even when he talks about one thing, he's saying another thing as well. That's it. I just want you to consider that. Whenever you hear these guys talk, just that's all you got to consider. But when you listen closely to what Brett Veach said at the Combine, you can pick up a few breadcrumbs here and there. And again, I don't know if these are true. This is what the breadcrumbs I'm picking up. But they all point towards the Chiefs potentially trading up for a premium pass rusher like Rueben Bain Jr. or David Bailey. And I'm going to let Brett Veach talk about that themselves because he does kind of make a comment here, which is, for me, it's like, whoa, are we going to trade up? So I'm going to let Brett Veach tell you.
You know, every year when we were picking 31, 32, I'd always say, man, if we were just at 24 or 25, we'd be exactly where we want to be. And now we're at 9. I'm like, man, if we were just at 4 or 5, we'd be exactly where we want to be. So I think every GM kind of has that mindset where, you know, unless you have the first pick, there's a certain element that you can't control, and you have to let the dominoes fall, if you will. But, you know, we're excited. I mean, we don't want to be picking 9 every year, but we're excited to add some young talent to this roster.
Interactions was real good. I felt like I had a real strong interview playing on that team, just in general with all the history they had in the previous years. And since I was growing up and what I could see, just a blessing.
Yeah, I have met with the Kansas City Chiefs. They were a great team, great staff. I really enjoyed my meeting there. You know, I'd be honored to rush it alongside Chris Jones. So yeah.
So I didn't preface that well, but again, Rueben Bain and David Bailey both spoke about their meetings with the Chiefs. That's what those sound bites were from them as well. But Brett Veach right there, man, he's saying the quiet part out loud. Really, he is. For years, he's been sitting at the back of the first round, wishing he'd get just a little closer to elite prospects. And now that he's in that range at number 9, he's already thinking, man, if we could just get to 4 or 5. My man wants to go from a 9 to 5. That's what he wants to be doing. And that mindset really matters because both Rueben Bain and David Bailey are expected to come off the board between the 2 range to 9 range. That's where I'm seeing all mock draft experts say 2 to 9. They could go at any point. I'm seeing some that go at 10, which is ridiculous. But right in that window that we are in, and right in that window where Brett Veach is even talking about, the one he's eyeing ahead. So the mindset, I mean, it matters. And if we've learned anything about Brett Veach since he took over in 2017, it's that he loves to move up for the guys he wants. He's done it more than 10 times on draft day where he's moved up. Not the first round, just in general. He's more than 10 times he's gone up, including for Trent McDuffie, first round, Xavier Worthy, first round, Rashee Rice. And obviously we know when Brett Veach locks in on a player, he doesn't really sit back and hope. He gets them, and that's why last year when we made that deal with with the Eagles, when he moved back, knowing that he was able to get Josh Simmons, and they weren't going to draft Josh Simmons at 31. So, like Brett Veach is a smart guy. And I know people will speculate that, oh man, maybe the Chiefs will move back. Well, history probably won't show you that. The history shows you that he's going to trade up for a top guy. So that's what it usually shows you. But the Chiefs have a rare opportunity to take a guy at number 10 in the top 10, something Veach has almost never done, and a clear understanding that premium positions like an edge rusher don't hit free agency, as he said himself. Kansas City's pass rush has been okay, but they can't depend on Chris Jones and Karlaftis forever, mainly Chris Jones. I wish they could depend on Karlaftis a little bit more. Adding a top-end young edge to the mix, one with Bain's explosion or Bailey's power, would keep the defense dominant for years. And despite all the chatter about Rueben Bain's arm length, his production and motor speak loud, and more than any measurement could see. And I think I saw today that Robert Saleh, Titans, had an interview with Rueben Bain, and they said that the film really says it all about him. So Veach has always prioritized tape and football IQ over combine buzz, and both Bain and Bailey check every box here. So while you can't take everything that Veach says at face value this time of the year, when he jokes about wanting to just be a few spots higher, that might not be a joke at all. Because again, this is a guy who's traded 10 plus times in drafts to get in the tops, to move ahead to get the guy he wants. If one of those top edge rushers, top tier guys like Bain or Bailey slides past the top 3, don't be surprised if the Chiefs are on the phone trying to move up from 9. Veach has the draft capital, the history, and the motivation. And if he truly believes premium talent doesn't reach free agency, he just told us how he plans to go get it. So that's where I think Brett Veach is leaning towards. And I think that's when he made that comment, just going from 30 to 20 or whatever. And now you're at 9. You want to go from 4 to 5. 4 to 5 is a range I'm seeing Bain and Bailey go. So it's like, and then today I think it was all stockpiled. Like all of us just all the D tackles and the edge rushers. That's who he was looking at today. So there was a lot of. There's the emphasis on the edge rush. And, yeah, I think what's his name? Peter Woods was another guy we also had a formal meeting with. Keldrick Falk was another guy we had a meeting with today. So, obviously, the edge rushers were something that they were going for. We know that. That's going to be a need. But the fact that, all the guys we want, they're meeting with, it's not like the end of the first usually, right? Where, we're meeting with guys who are who's that? I have to look up that guy. We're in the top 10 spot, so we're going to be meeting with the blue chips of this draft. And these guys are blue chippers. I mean, look at Rueben Bain right there in that montage. I mean, look at David Bailey. We're going to be in range, guys. It's that honestly that close for us to get these guys. And I don't know what's going to take to go from 10 to 5 or 4 if those guys do fall, but I don't know. Trade the first, the swap first, then you maybe swap seconds and maybe trade a third next year. It's a lot less to trade up for one of these guys than if we had to go from 31 that we usually pick to top 10. I mean, that we would have to trade a lot more to go up that much. We're only going up 5 picks if that is the case, but who knows? And the fact that Bailey's not participating, and I don't know if you guys know this, Bailey's not participating in any on-field stuff at the combine, and with that factory with the whole short arm stuff, he might fall to 9. I mean, it's very plausible, and I'm reading things today I'm reading things today like the Saints, the Titans, the Giants are all on Jeremiah Love and Caleb Downs. So are those guys going to go in that way? Are they going to go some of the surprise dudes that people thought were going to go to 9 to us? Are those guys going to go ahead of us? And if those guys go ahead of us, then they push guys like Bain and Bailey back towards us. So I mean, a lot's up in the air, and over the next few days of the combine for the guys who are competing in the combine and doing the on-field work. This is grind time. This is going to put people's in the top 10 territory. This is going to drop guys out of the top 10 territory. So this is huge in that respect. Are those guys going to be in it Like, I mean, what's going to happen? So, like, Bailey, or I mean, not Bailey, but Bain's not going to be one of those guys who's going to have, to boast these big numbers because he's not going to be participating. So that's not going to be a good thing for him. I'm going to have to imagine he's going to do his own pro day in Miami. But, like, for a guy who already has a lot of, or you could talk about Bain and Bailey all day. Oh, of course I could. I mean, JD and I have been gearing up for a Bain and Bailey season. That's where we're going for. But yeah, for a guy like Bain who has the whole short arm stuff, and he even said today in his press conference that like that wasn't a big deal. Like he talked to multiple teams and none of them brought that up to him. I just think that tells you that like either again smokescreen season, right? Well, is he going to come out and say that teams are nervous about his arm length? No, but they might. I mean, they might be scared off by that. He's not doing the stuff at the combine. I'm glad he's at the combine, but he's not doing anything. That's interesting to me. And maybe Veach and Bain are making backdoor deals. Hey, don't participate in the combine stuff. Try to fall to number 9 and come to Kansas City. JD, Veach is working out his acting. A lot of deflection without giving it up. Routine GM talk. Can't be mad at it. They're making deals behind closed doors, especially at the combine over steak and wine. Yep, and I believe they go to a restaurant called St. Elmo's. Is one of the big places that media members as well as GMs go to. I was listening to a podcaster, and he was saying that like you go to a place called St. Elmo's in Indianapolis, and like you could be sitting there, and all of a sudden you'll see like Brett Veach order a beer at the bar, which is hilarious to even think about that. That all of a sudden you see these guys because it's a small little area right outside Lucas Oil Fieldhouse, and it's just like it's all right there, and so. It's cool. These guys, these big wigs are all over there, agents and whatnot. It's kind of like a who's who of agents, GMs, head coaches there. So it's pretty cool. And I think I read that Jacksonville's not going to the combine this year. So what are you doing? I don't know. And I think they have like a millennial or like a Gen Z GM too. So didn't really work out last year. The whole Travis Hunter thing. They traded up all those picks for a guy who was supposed to be a two-way guy, and now he's just playing cornerback. So. That's not off to a good start for the young buck of a GM in Jacksonville. Let's see what everyone else got to say. I'm gearing up for David Bailey. I know we got to trade up to get one. I can see us trading up with Cleveland. Very much so. I mean, shoot. I do think it'll be interesting to see how the kind of the draft board goes. It sounded like Orville Reese, the Micah Parsons, Ohio State type of guy. It sounds like the Jets and him had a nice meeting today because he was raving about the Jets. And the Jets ended up posting the clip of him talking about the Jets on their social media. So it sounds like he's probably the guy number 2. So that kind of sucks in a way because at first a lot of the mocks before guys started to say they were coming back in for the draft, like Dante Moore, who went back to Oregon, he was supposed to be the number 2 pick. So that would push another guy back towards us. I hope one of these quarterbacks, like Ty Simpson, I hope he dominates at the combine, so maybe he can get to top 10 territory. I don't know. I think that's going to happen. Nonetheless, could happen. But again, we've seen Veach talk about trading up before. We've seen him do it before. So I would not mind if it's going to give us a bookend edge like that for the next 10 years. Jawaan Mitchell, arm length, not a big deal until the official measurements come out. It's not, and that's another reason why he's probably not getting his arm length checked at this combine, not doing any activities. So, yeah. But he's not doing any field work, so I don't know if the arm length stuff is going to be happening at the field, but I guess you'll get it done at the pro day. I guess that's where that's going to happen. Hope Broncos trade up for pick 8. Who cares about the Broncos? No one cares about the Broncos. Come on, Clifton. Go to the Broncos Concerns channel for that, man. Would we be willing to trade up if necessary? Oh, I think so. I think Veach said it right there. And I think my whole little monologue there, I do think, like, when it's necessary, when he's had to do it, he's done it. Right? So, like, I do think if he thinks one of these guys is elite enough and we're not breaking the bank to trade up for one of these guys, I 100% think they do it. You can go from 9 to 4, 9 to 5. And one of these guys goes to 6. I think they trade up and get one of these guys. Now, if the asking price is too high, maybe not. But if it's a swap first, maybe swap a second, maybe trade him an extra third like next year or something, I could see that. And again, guys, we're talking about comp picks that are going to be coming out soon, or coming out going to next year. But if Cook gets signed with a big deal, that's a comp pick, 3rd, 4th round, we're talking. gosh, who are other free agents we have that are going to be? I think Jalen Watson. He could be a high pick if he's picked if they spend a lot of money on him. I mean, there's a lot of things like that can happen this offseason. So we'll see what happens with the compensatory picks. No need for Jeremiah Love. There are guys who can get someone. There are guys who can get someone in free agency as well as someone in later rounds for just as good as production. That will cost less. If anything, Caleb Downs, we need safety. I would love Caleb Downs. So if that's the route they go, bring him home all day. Seriously, I would love Caleb Downs. But for me, I just feel like I would love one of the edge rushers to get if they trade up to get one of them. No, we don't have We don't have capital to trade up and have too many holes to fill. Well, that's why I'm saying if you swap, so we have a high pick in the second, right? So if one of these teams has an extra second or something, you give them your 40th pick for one of their late seconds or something like that. I don't know. There's ways to work it around. And if it's talking about getting one of these generational DNs, why not? And trading maybe a next year pick for it, I could see that. I could see that definitely, especially with the comp picks we could be getting. Jackson 578, our safety has left, and we can go after Downs for less, and we can either trade our current left tackle or drop him, and that gives us 20 million. Okay. All right, so he's talking about Jawaan Taylor. Yeah, you could do that with Jawaan Taylor. Yeah, for sure. I talked about earlier that's what we've been talking about for months that was going to happen, and Veach putting some cold water on that this week that they might not do it. But, yeah. I mean, I would love Caleb Downs. If none of those edge rushers are there and they do not try to go up to number 9, past number 9, to 5 or 4 range to get one of these guys, then so by all means, draft Caleb Downs if he's there at 9. Yeah, I love these Broncos fans, man. Like this Clifton Harris guy. What are you doing? It's February 25th, and we're talking about the Broncos right now. I mean, give me a break. I appreciate you be subscribing though. That's nice. Daniel 13. I've always said I want Bain over Bailey, but I'm not one to have expectations either of them. Oh yeah, I don't care. Anyone who's picking and choosing, I want this one over that one. I don't care. I want either one. Give me either one because I trust if that's who they want, go for it. I did like that Bailey had a little. I liked both their sound bites, Bailey and Bain. They both said some good stuff about coming to Kansas City. I think Bailey kind of expanded more about playing next to Chris Jones, but Bain said, playing with the Chiefs, a team that he watched kind of dominate all throughout his childhood. Yeah, I love that. It's also funny to hear players talk about the Chiefs dominating throughout their childhood because during my childhood, we didn't really dominate. We just, I guess early the JD years we did, but after the JD year, it was kind of my high school years. We were not dominating anything outside of 1 year, but it's nice to see that. Just imagine we get Bain in the first and Mestor in the second. Ooh, man, totally revamped edge rush room and D line, man. I mean, unreal. But I'm reading more about Messidor potentially going in the first, but we'll see. He's older. A lot of teams don't like the older guys. I don't know. Veach is trying to see if he can trade Taylor, but he will find no takers. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. Plenty of fans in our house because they are worried. It's crazy. I don't get it. I personally think Bain might want to come to us since he's not participating for that reason. I do think so. I could definitely see that. I would love that. So that's where I have it, guys. For tonight's episode with just a solo dolo show. But yeah, those are the three soundbites I really liked from Brett Veach. I think he shed a lot of light on what is going on with the Chiefs right now. So you know what? I'll throw this in the chat if you guys want to come on. If you guys want to come on and ask any questions about Brett Veach's sound bites, anything at all, I'll try to get some guests before we get out of here tonight. The invite link is in the chat, so if you want to come on and talk ball, let's do this. But yeah, so that's I think the all field workout stuff started today, I believe, or tomorrow. But yeah, it's I think it starts tomorrow actually. But yeah, I can't wait to see how Bain and Bailey kind of pull up and how they look. A lot of the other guys. I mean, Peter Woods is another guy that I like. I don't know about number 9 but I like. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to watch. But Bain not participating kind of sucks because I was really hoping to see Bain in the combine. But hey, I'll if it helps him get pushed to us, I'll take it any day of the week. So that's kind of how I'm feeling. That's how I'm feeling. All right, let's see here. Because safety is generational safety. Yes, I do. That's the thing. I do think Caleb Downs is a generational safety. I love Caleb Downs. I think Caleb Downs is a beast. I think, we haven't seen a Caleb Downs type guy, and I think the last two safeties that were top 10 safeties were, I think we talked about the other day on the show. Jamal Adams is one, and it was Jamal Adams and Eric Berry were the last two top 10 safeties drafted in the top 10. So Caleb Downs will definitely be a top 10 safety. I do think if he gets to us at 9, that means Bailey and Bain are probably gone. So that means he gets to us. And there's honestly, there's a scenario where all three of those guys go before number 9 comes, or Bain, Bailey, and Downs go. So man, it's gonna be interesting. But I love Caleb Downs too. So if for any reason they want to go Caleb Downs instead of Bain or Bailey or an edge rusher, that's fine with me. That's totally cool. DJ Jazzy 1, Marcus, is Travis jealous you got his haircut? I don't know. I think Travis is jealous about anything at all. That man's living a nice lavish lifestyle right now with the celeb. I don't think he's jealous of Marcus Dash at all. But hey, maybe he is. Who knows? Caleb Downs would be insane. He would be insane. I love Caleb Downs. Man, if we were to get him, man, I'd be stoked. I like the Downs pick. Yeah. If Downs is there, shoot, I would take it. Jets drafted Jamal Adams with a high pick, didn't change their culture. No, Jamal Adams, he had a good 2-year run, but he fell off pretty fast. But yeah, I think Caleb Downs is more of an Eric Berry kind of guy. And I don't think we need a culture change in Kansas City. So that, Caleb Downs coming to Kansas City would not be a culture changer at all for us. It's more a guy to come in and kind of bring that heat in the secondary for the Chris Jones standpoint. You have the guy locked down in the front lines. You have Nick Bolton locked down in the middle, and then you have Caleb Downs in the secondary. So we don't really need a culture changer. Caleb Downs, you're right though. Caleb Downs going to the Jets team, a team that's down and hasn't done anything in a long time. That'd be great for them. That'd be a great guy for that. So yeah, Caleb Downs is more like Ed Reed. Caleb Downs is a beast. Nick Saban said he was one of the most highly IQ guys he's ever met as a freshman. Caleb Downs started in Alabama as a freshman at safety. So, pretty good. His brother Josh Downs is a Colts receiver, too, if you guys did not know that either. So, there's guys, man. There's dudes. I believe the Big Citrus tackle from Dominic Orange from Iowa State talked today. Talked about the Chiefs. That's a guy, probably a second-round pick. If we were to get him, I'm a huge fan. What else did I read today that was interesting? Cassius Howell, DN from Texas A&M, who's got some pass rush juice. Let me say that. I think he's a beast. He talked about how he's a Chiefs fan as well. So there's a lot of he grew up watching the Chiefs. I think he said he grew up watching the Chiefs and the Royals, because I believe he's from the Kansas City area as well. So there's a lot of guys in this draft that are excited about coming to Kansas City. Keldrick Folk. He kind of worried me a little bit. I'm not the biggest fan of him anyway, but he made his comment today was what do you want to improve on the most going into the NFL? And he said pass rush. And if you ask me, what do I want the Chiefs to improve on the most? I want them to improve on pass rush. So why would I want the Chiefs to draft a guy who wants to improve on pass rush? You know what I mean? So that when I heard that, and also I will say, Keldrick Folk is one of the youngest players in this draft. So let me just say that as well. So there's the guy's got time to develop into something good or a beast. But him saying that, man, that was crazy. He wants to become better at pass rushing. Well, so do we. And I don't have time to be drafting a guy like that who needs to be working on pass rush. Now we need a guy who's to come in and be a pass rusher right out the gate. Go Real Biz. My guy Marcus at work. Apologies, I missed the most of the live. I hope all is well. I appreciate you, buddy. Hey, just watch the episode again. You can get in and watch it again. We're almost out of here. Keep Keldrick Folk away from us. Yeah, that's how I feel, man. Keep them away. Man, I Clifton Harris, I see you in the chat. I gotta feel bad for your Broncos, man, because it must not be another channel you subscribe to talk ball, man. Sad. But hey, welcome on our show anytime, man. Brandon Jones and Hufanga will give Mahomes nightmares from here on out. Okay, sure. I think Mahomes dominated Hufanga in a Super Bowl or two. So, but sure, he'll give him nightmares. What are we talking about here? Jackson 5781. There are loads of D ends and D tackles all the way through the 4th round this year. There are, but as far as the upper echelon guys, Like I know people are big on the Clemson D and TJ Parker, which again, in a couple Mondays, 2 Mondays from now, we're going to be beginning our spotlight shows. So JD, Tasia, and I will be picking 3 players for each of us. It'll be 9 guys in total, where we talk about players each Monday until the draft. So TJ Parker will be one guy we do talk about. But he was a guy that, yeah, he was supposed to be like a top first round guy, but he had a bad year. Him and Peter Woods both. The Clemson D-line guys did not look good at all this year, so they kind of fell off. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Peter Woods, I think he was supposed to be a top 5 pick, and he had a horrible year this year. But he looks like a man possessed. I mean, like his measurables, how big he is, he looks like a guy you don't want to mess with. There was another one I saw that Banks had a funny soundbite today as well. So like there's some guys who are there who, like, I've seen some mocks that have us getting a Banks at number 9. Would I like that? No, but is it a need? Sure. Maybe trade back. You can get Banks in mid-teens. But, yeah, there's a lot of guys in this draft that I really like. Obviously, we're talking about the upper echelon, the blue chip guys. I want Bain or Bailey. So we'll see what happens. We got a lot of time. But this week, the Combine is going to show us a lot as far as measurables and who's going to be going in to the top 10. So it's because tape don't lie. Tape does not lie. It doesn't at all. You are right about that, my man. Joey, Love and Mahomes will work great together. Yeah, well, I don't think there's a chance Love might not even make it to number 9. So, Joey, I hope all you lovers out there, I hope you guys get used to the reality that Love may not the luxury may die soon, because in 2 weeks, if we sign Kenneth Walker, one of the top running backs, Love ain't coming to us at number 9. Secondly, Love may get drafted early in the draft anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered at all. I think I read today the Giants are interested. Can you imagine Cam Scatabo and Jeremiah Love backfield? Could be kind of fun. Could be scary actually for the Giants. So I did see that. No need for Love. We can get 2 RBs cheaper. Well, you are right about that. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to pull the plug on the show for the night. But I hope everybody enjoyed the episode. Thanks for tuning in to Chief Concerns presented by FanDuel, the #1 sports book. We hope you guys enjoyed the episode. And I will see you guys. Me and Tasia will definitely be back on Monday. And I'll be posting clips from here on out till Monday. But, yeah, I don't know if JD will be back next week. But, again, guys, send your prayers. DM JD. Post stuff on Twitter. You're writing the comments on this episode. Sending your love and your prayers and your warm and well wishes to JD and his family, as his mother is in the hospital right now. Mama Dunn is in the hospital. We all love her, and we're sending our well wishes, our prayers, and all positive and good vibes towards the Dunn family. So we love you guys. We will see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. And I hope everybody enjoys the Combine. Love y'all. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.